What is happening, YouTube? Cowboy here. And with 2016 just around the corner, I figured now would be a great time to kind of recap the year we just had, as well as give you guys an idea of what you can expect going into 2016. So, thinking about the year in general, all in all, I gotta say, 2015 was a fantastic year. We had Heroes of the Storm, and that's probably the top of my list. Absolutely fantastic MOBA. I think Blizzard did a great job with it. And, I started playing Heroes of the Storm back in February. And here we are almost a year later in December, and I'm still playing it. And not only that, but I'm still playing it and I'm still enjoying it, and I'm making content for it. And I think that does say something about the longevity of that game. We had Bloodborne, Scholar of the First Sin. We can't deny how awesome just the Dark Souls franchise is in general. And you guys know I absolutely love Dark Souls. So those were both two games that I just managed to sink hours into, and I really did enjoy going, especially with Scholar, going back through and doing like an actual walkthrough for Scholar, after knowing the Souls series and knowing where things are, being able to go through and kind of doing that completionist playthrough, like showing people how you want to approach it, where everything is, how to go about stuff. And, I really enjoyed that. And Bloodborne too, especially with the DLC just passing. Like, going back in and getting back into Bloodborne after kind of being off with it for a couple months, it really made me appreciate just the difficulty and the feeling of accomplishment when you take down those bosses. We had open world games that were like nothing else before. Fallout 4. I mean, do I need to really say anything about how awesome Fallout 4 has been? We're still making content for it now. Obviously, a fantastic game. Witcher 3, easily my game of the year. Best freaking story I've ever ended up doing. I mean, hell, look at this right here. This is the latest Witcher novel. I enjoyed the game so much, I bought all the Witcher novels, and this was the one I'm working through right now. Sword of Destiny just came out. I love it. But we have Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, Metal Gear Solid has never been an open world game, and Metal Gear Solid 5 gave us an open-ended approach to how we play Metal Gear. And for that, I was just like, you know what? This is awesome. I like this. This is fun. And then we had things that I didn't think I was going to enjoy that I just absolutely loved, like Until Dawn and Soma. Like horror games, I don't usually do horror games on my channel. You guys know that. I mean, thinking back to like horror, the closest thing to horror I think I've played in a long time was probably Dead Space 3. And I don't even know if we can consider that horror, because Dead Space 3 is more like, it got away from horror. It was like, here's a gun. You can take on whoever you want. And you're like, you know what? I'm not really scared of anything because I will blow its legs off and then I will murder it. And in both Soma and Until Dawn, that wasn't an option. It was like, if you move, you're dead. And you're sitting there just like, oh my God, I don't want to die. And that was so much fun. Now, on the flip side of things, there were some games I didn't enjoy so much in 2015. I don't want to say any names. I don't want to be that guy that's like, this was garbage. And I'm sure you guys know, the people out there that are watching right now that have seen like every episode I've uploaded of every game ever, I'm sure you guys can tell. There's games that I'll play, and usually about halfway into it, I'll be like, you know what? And in the back of my head, I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, you know what? This game is kind of crap. It's kind of dookie. I don't want to play it anymore. And, there were a couple games this year that were like that. And despite that, just the way my channel's always been, I've played games. I played them through to completion, and I felt like, all right, this game is garbage, but I'm going to play it through. I'm going to beat it. I'm going to upload it. And I did. And, that's something that, looking back, I don't want to say I regret it, but I feel like there's things I could have better spent that time on. So, and that's kind of the purpose of this video. So, yes, we are drinking during this. Some delicious Lagunitas. I actually tried to record this video probably about 6-7 times now, and I kept just messing up in what I was trying to say. I was like, I cannot get on what I want to say across in the proper way. So I took a break. I went out, got lunch, had a couple beers, came home, and now that I got just a little bit of a buzz going, I was like, now we are ready. We have the flow down. We are ready to say what we want, and we're just going to continue drinking. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. So anyway, my point is that, ever since I started, I have been a multi-game channel. One of the very first games I started with was Borderlands, and I did the Legendary item series. I went through all that. I did some build videos, and then I kind of went into Far Cry 3, and I did the playthrough for that. And then I started tackling new games as they came out, doing full playthroughs of them. Assassin's Creed 3, that was one of the first games up on my channel. And, I did that, did Far Cry. And then it just, releases and started tackling them one by one by one by one. And the point is, not all games are made equal. Some games might be fantastic. Some are just big steaming piles of doo-doo. And, hey, you tried. You made a game. It's a steaming pile of doo-doo. Nothing you can do about it. But I don't want to play that steaming pile of doo-doo and bring it to you guys and record it just because it's a new game that came out. And I feel like up until now, I've kind of forced myself to do that. Thinking back, I can only think of maybe 3 games on my channel that I started playing that halfway through the playthrough, I was just like, you know what? This game sucks. I'm done. I'm not finishing it. And I just stopped. And, there's a lot of games that kind of fall into that same threshold. They're not as terrible, but they're pretty bad. And despite that, I still end up playing them all the way through because I feel I need to. And, moving forward into the new year, everyone makes New Year's resolutions, and my resolution is to bring you guys better content. And with that in mind, I decided that games that I start playing that just don't capture my interest or they're not as entertaining to me, I'm just going to stop playing them. And there's a big reason for this. And, thinking about it, when I was playing Bloodborne, every second of it, even the times where I was getting molested by the Orphan of Kos, and I was just like, I hate this boss so much. Despite that, I got through it, and I beat him, and when I beat him, I was just like, praise the sun, I beat that piece of crap, he's down, yes! And that feeling of accomplishment I got was so high. And then I think back to games that, it's like I die, you know what, all right, screw it. It's like Tomb Raider, for example, Tomb Raider. I liked the Tomb Raider reboot, I did. But the new one, man, like the final boss fight, oh, you die, here you go, don't worry, we're just going to rewind you 30 seconds before you died and you can try again. Like, where is the challenge? Why are you holding my hand so much? And yeah, I could probably challenge myself. I could be like, if I die, I'm going to restart the whole chapter. But nobody's got time for that. Screw that. If the game restarts me right there, I'm going to play it from right there. And we were playing that game on the hardest difficulty, but it was still hand-holdy. It was still like, oh, you died. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Here, we'll take you along. We'll start you right here, and we'll give you full health again, and we'll give you all your ammo back. And then you just molested it because you had full health and you had all your ammo, and you're like, oh, hooray, big surprise, it's done. And, too many games are like that these days. There's just too many games that want to hold your hand and want to baby you. And, I don't like it. I hate it. And that's one of the big reasons that I've been so attracted to the Souls franchise in general, is because the Souls franchise is the opposite of that. The Souls franchise, all right, let me make a comparison. Here's the normal game. Normal game is like a kid just learning how to eat, and its parents are like, here comes the airplane. And the kid's like, nom, 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 nom. And they're like, hooray, you ate the food. Congratulations, you got nummies. And Dark Souls, on the other hand, is like, it throws a sword to the baby, and it's like, fuck you. Here's your food. Come get it, bitch. And you have to earn that food. And that's what I love about Dark Souls and about Bloodborne. And even Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm, MOBAs in general. Any game that's competitive multiplayer, you get nothing. You have to earn it. It's about skill. It's about winning. And if you suck, too bad. You're going to lose the game. And there were a lot of games this year that just weren't like that. So, need a drink. God, running out of breath here. God, I love Lagunitas. Lagunitas has become my new favorite beer this year. Which is good because it's becoming a lot more popular and it's getting distributed more widely. Very tasty IPA. Beyond the point. But as we move into 2016, my point is, these games that I start playing that are bad, I don't want to finish them. I'm going to try a game. If I get a game, if I'm given it through a press release or if I buy it myself, whatever the case is, if it's a crap game, after about a week, it might just fall off the upload schedule. It won't show up. And the big reason for that is because I do feel it impacts the quality of content I'm producing for you guys. And I can tell it. I see it when I go back and I watch my own videos and I look on ways to improve myself. And like I said with the example before with Bloodborne, when I go back through and I watch myself as I was playing, Soma or Witcher or Bloodborne or Dark Souls or any of those titles that I mentioned at the start of the video, and I compare it to some of the titles that I played that I didn't enjoy as much, like I can see a definitive difference in just how I'm approaching it. You know, I'm way more energetic. I'm way more excited and just in the zone and enjoying it with those big titles. And, you know, not even big titles. Like Soma was a small title, and I even started it late, but I enjoyed it immensely compared to some other ones that were like super hyped up that I ended up just hating. And you know, when I'm not enjoying a game, I think that shows in the type of videos I'm producing for you guys. I think you can see it. You can hear, like, you know, I'm sighing more. I'm constantly just bitching about mechanics in the game. I'm just like, this just sucks. This is trash dialogue. This is stupid. That doesn't make sense. And I start to nitpick at every little thing. And I don't want to do that because, you know, when I start just complaining about something, I'm not enjoying it. And you know, if I'm not enjoying it, I shouldn't be doing it. And on top of that, I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me just bitch about something. I mean, hey, maybe it's entertaining. And I'm sure there's instances where if I'm just ranting about something, hey, it could be funny. And maybe with those games that I start playing that are crap, I'll make a rant series for all I know that you guys can watch. And I think that might be something fun to do. But the fact is, I don't want to take those games and just play them through just for the sake of playing them through. And because of that, as I move forward into the new year, my resolution for the channel, at least, is I'm going to play more of games that I enjoy and produce more content for games that I know I like and content that hopefully you guys will like more. So, now to break it down more, exactly what can you guys expect for 2016 from me and the channel. So in terms of titles, there's a lot lined up for 2016, but that being said, a lot of stuff doesn't have discrete dates just yet. I mean, the one game that I know for sure is on the horizon, Dark Souls 3, obviously out in April. And rest assured, there is going to be so much content for Dark Souls 3, it's going to be staggering. I'm talking at least 2 playthroughs, at least 2 full playthroughs on YouTube, one being blind, one being a full walkthrough. There's going to be co-op content for it. There's going to be build videos. Arena of Blood is definitely going to be making a reappearance. More than likely, for those curious, I'll probably be getting it on PS4 and PC as well. PC for the build videos, obviously, because I just don't have the time to farm hordes and hordes and hordes of gear anymore. So, praise the PC. I'll be able to do that stuff on there a lot easier. For Honor, a game that still does not have a date, doesn't even have a beta or an alpha set, but I got to play it at E3, and I loved the combat of For Honor. I can't stress that enough. That game was so much fun to play, and I'm just like, I need this. Like, give it to me right now. And I want that. So For Honor content, and that's going to be a big stream game, I think. A really big stream game, you know, 4-on-4 type archetype there. I think it has a lot of potential. The Division, you know, the Division just went through its closed alpha test, and I was able to play the closed alpha. I couldn't upload footage of it because of the NDA, but the Division was a really cool look because it had an open world feel, and in a sense it was very, very slight similarities, but it did feel like Destiny, just barely. Let me stress how barely it felt like Destiny. And I mean Destiny only in the sense that you were in this open, persistent shooting game world with other players. But the way they approached it and the way that quests showed up and how you completed quests was very, very different. And you know what I got to play with the Dark Zone at E3, that was fantastic. Like I saw that, and my first thought was like, this is going to test the boundaries of friendship. This is going to test how much people actually trust each other. That's good. And so those are the 3 games just off the top of my head that are kind of at the top of my chart for expectations. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things like the Final Fantasy VII reboot. Oh my God, don't get me wrong. Craigasm, totally ready for that. Even if it's going to be episodic, I give no fucks. I can't wait for the reboot of Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy 15. It's going to be a massive JRPG. No fucks given. Play the shit out of it. I can't wait. But a lot of these games are still just kind of up in the air. Like, it's just like Final Fantasy 15 coming soon. And because of that, I'm not going to say like, we're playing this on this day, because I don't know. But all that stuff will get played, rest assured. Like I said, if I pick something up and it ends up being crap, I'll do a rant video about it. Whatever. We'll do something. But in terms of what you guys can expect for early 2016, let's talk about that now. So, after just going through the Bloodborne DLC, you know, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier ago, but I really did appreciate getting back into that combat, you know, just the visceral sense of it, the difficulty, the feeling of accomplishment when you actually, you know, you overcome something. There's no hold handing in that game. There's no holding back. And I want to get back to more of that. And I have a lot of friends, not necessarily people in the Souls community. I mean, you guys know I'm friends with a lot of people in the Souls community. You know, Oro, SLB, Dragon, Strike Phoenix, Road Parkour. You know, all those guys. And I mean, there's Bro with the Fro, Mr. I Don't Forget. There's names I could go on and on and on with these people that I've made friends with and that I know now through Souls. And you guys know them for Souls, but there's a lot of people that I'm friends with that aren't known for Souls that kind of want to get into that foray. So a lot of these people I've been kind of talking with about doing cooperative type stuff and being like, we got Dark Souls 3 on the horizon. Let's bring you into the fold. Let Cowboy pop that Dark Souls cherry. How about that? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm a little scared. And I'm like, shh, don't worry, baby. I'm gonna guide your way. And it looks like it's going to happen. So I'm not going to put out any names out there just yet because this is all still up for discussion, me and the people I'm going through this with. But there is a good, very high chance you guys can look forward to more co-op for both Bloodborne and Scholar of the First Sin early 2016. And more than likely I'll be the co-op perspective. It'll be people doing playthroughs, most of it being first playthroughs or very non-informed playthroughs of those games. And I'll kind of be there as like the Sun Bro, protector of darkness, carrying them through and slaughtering a bunch of stuff and doing builds that I wouldn't typically do. And I'm really excited for that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Especially in preparation for Dark Souls 3, just to kind of get back into the fold and, readjust myself, get back into that combat so that when 3 does drop out, I'm going in it with, like, dick out, like, what's up? I'm ready to go. I'm not scared of nothing. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun because, I do miss Dark Souls. I do miss Bloodborne. And, I mean, analytics can only say so much, but I know at least looking at my channel analytics, and I look at the kind of views I get on, even walkthroughs, like, walkthroughs that I do for Bloodborne and Dark Souls, even if they're just blind Let's Plays, they have like 10 times the amount of views on something that's, like Mad Max or Tomb Raider. And, to me at least, if I'm just going off analytics, and I mean, not even analytics, just even comments, like that shows me that you guys enjoy that content more than me just picking up random games and playing it. So because of that, I want to bring more content of that to you guys. And not only because you enjoy it, but because I enjoy that stuff more. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy that feeling of triumph. Like when you just crap all over a boss in Dark Souls or Bloodborne and you're just like, oh, you just got freaking wrecked. You are nobody. I destroyed you. Like when you beat a boss in any other game, you're just like, oh, you're down. When you beat a boss, like, and I don't mean beat, I mean like when you smash a boss in something like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, you're just like, oh, hang on a second, let me wipe that off. Let me wipe that off. I'm too pimped for this right now. Like it is a feeling of accomplishment like nothing else. So I do want to do more of that. On to the next topic. Daily heroes. Now, obviously, Heroes of the Storm, we started after a couple months with the hero guides. Moving forward from there, I've been playing Heroes of the Storm enough that it's gone into a daily series. And rest assured, that will continue. I absolutely love Heroes, and it's kind of astounding. Like I said, I've been playing this game for almost a year now. And the fact that not only do I still want to play it, but like I want to get in and I want to produce content for it, that really does say something about the game to me. Like I remember when I was doing the A to Z challenge with Dota, like there were points in that series where I was just like, man, I hate this hero. I don't want to play this hero. I don't want to do it. And I was getting frustrated, but I still enjoyed it. And with Heroes of the Storm, I don't feel like that at all. I feel like I have the freedom to be like, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna try something else today. I'm gonna do this. Trying out like builds that aren't meta builds that are a little bit unconventional. At the same time, every now and then hopping back into Hero League and kind of showing what the meta is all about and just smashing people with builds that are proven and strong. And I'm still enjoying it immensely. And especially when I get people in like Strike Phoenix. Big shout out to Strike because Strike has been with me and more Heroes of the Storm videos than anyone else. And it's always a great time playing with Strike. The guys that watch me on Twitch, they know Strike very well. He's another content creator. He does a lot of Dark Souls stuff. He does a lot of games in general, but Dark Souls was kind of where I met him through. And, thank you, Strike. Thank you if you're out there watching this because, you're one of the guys that I love playing Heroes with. And I want to do more stuff like that. I want to bring people in and get them on Skype and just be joking and bullshitting while we're playing and having a great time. So, Daily Heroes of the Storm set to continue, rest assured. Black Desert Online. Now, this game, I'm not sure when this video is going to be live. I wanted it to go live Sunday. I don't know when it's going to be done rendering, so we'll see. But Black Desert Online, there should be gameplay of that up on my channel very soon, if not already. Now, this was an MMO that has been over in Korea for about a year now. They just brought the closed beta over to the US, and just to give a little bit of, I guess, past experience here. So, I used to play World of Warcraft, like, religiously, almost. Like, it was like, that was my jam. And I mean, every day. And I mean, this was way before the channel, but I'm talking like I had max level characters back during Cataclysm. I stopped playing during the Mists of Pandaria expansion. I had everything but a paladin at max level. In every season, I would pick 3 characters. All 3 of those characters were anywhere from 24 to 2200 in rated arenas. Usually 2 of them were doing endgame rating. Like, I mean, when I stopped playing, my rogue had 25-man heroic set pieces. He almost had his legendary daggers. He had a full 2400 rated battleground set. Like, I was like, when you look at the WoW ladder of skill, like, I was like right here, hovering by the very top. I mean, there was a point where the hunter I played back in season, what was it? I think it was season 6. My hunter was ranked 3rd in the entire world. It wasn't too long, but it lasted for about 2 months. I was 3rd place in the whole world. That was how much I was involved in World of Warcraft, and I loved it. And I noticed how much of my time it was taking up. It was taking away from my life. It was impacting, like relationships that I had with friends and my significant other at the time. And so I quit WoW. And I got into Final Fantasy 14 when that came out. And I enjoyed it, and I had a lot of buddies from Xbox that joined me, and I had a lot of friends from back home where I grew up that joined me. And after about 2 weeks, I'm like, yo, you guys ready to go? And they're like mid-level 20. They were casuals. There's nothing wrong with that. They don't play games for a channel like I do. They just didn't have the time to put out into it. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I found myself just looking for people to play with because I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to hit the pinnacle of content. What's it at? And after just, a few months, I'm sitting there like, doing the Coils of Bahamut and tearing it through, and my guild's too casual for me. I got to bail on my guild, and then I'm joining up with people that are pushing the 4 coils every week, and I'm doing that. And, and then they released the PvP, and I've been waiting for the PvP, because as you guys know, PvP is my bae. Me and PvP are like this. I love player versus player content, because there's nothing more exciting to me than the combat when you are against another person, and it becomes a contest just between skill, between you and one other person. And in that aspect, Final Fantasy, they dropped the ball completely. It just fell. They didn't even really have their hands on it. They were like, oh god, the ball fell, and it was garbage. And then WildStar came out, and I didn't even really like aside from leveling dungeons, I barely even like touched the PvE aspect of WildStar. But the PvE aspect, or the PvP aspect, excuse me, I was in love with that. We had arenas, we had the battlegrounds, we had the 40, 50-man siege events that never happened because you could never get enough people around to do them. But it was good stuff. It was fun while it lasted. And ultimately, I feel the problem with WildStar is that the game was just too ambitious for what it offered. Like, I legitimately, I really, really enjoyed the PvP in WildStar. Stalker and whatever the mage, or not the mage, the shooter class was. I don't even remember what it was called because it was my ult. But I enjoyed playing both of those immensely, like running around with the guns and being like, shoot, 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 charge shot, pew, backflip, boom, you're dead. And then going with the Stalker and being like, open stab, impale, stun, backflip, blind, go in, viscerate, oh, you're dead. I enjoyed it so much. But people didn't stick around for it, and it died off. It died. It just floated away like a white falcon lost in a snowstorm. But Black Desert Online, this game has been designed kind of the opposite of most MMOs. It has a very, very solid PvP foundation, and the PvE foundation is kind of off here, like fluttering in the distance, and it's not quite established. And a lot of people are like, oh, I think that's going to be bad. No, that is exactly what I want. We have dueling, we have world PvP and ganking, we have arenas, we have 10 to 20 man siege groups. Yeah, that's everything I can get on board with. So Black Desert Online, definitely something I'm going to be getting involved with on 2016. Whether or not it ends up being a huge success or it ends up petering out, I can't say yet. I think they're going with a good model instead of going for a subscription-based model like a lot of MMOs. I mean, WoW, Final Fantasy, WildStar, they were all subscription-based. Black Desert is going to be buy-to-play, which is, very similar to a lot of games. It's literally upfront, you buy the game, it's, 50, 60 bucks, and then that's it. You bought it, you can play it. There's no sub cost, and you just go in and play. You've paid for it. And I like that model. I think it's a good model. I think a lot of games that try to charge a subscription fee don't put out enough content to justify it. And, because of the way Black Desert's approaching it, I'm excited to see how it does. And, like I said, there's going to be a lot of gameplay either already up now or coming really soon on the channel showing some of the classes in Black Desert. And I'll go more in-depth into the game in those videos. But I'm pretty pumped for it. So, yeah, there's that. So on to our next item, Fallout 4. Now, obviously, Fallout 4 has been a game that we've been playing for about a month now at this point, and just the nature of Fallout games. And I kind of mentioned this in the start of those videos, is that in reality, if I really, really wanted to, I could make Fallout go into a 300-400 part series with no trouble at all. It wouldn't be hard to do that just because of the nature of how Fallout is. And where I'm at now, and this is we're 12:20 is right now when I'm recording this. So right now I still have to record some Fallout for the week, but we're kind of getting involved in the Institute. We're going through their quest. Brotherhood of Steel is already kind of butthurt with us. They don't want to be involved with us. Railroad, they might still be on board with us. I don't know. I haven't visited them lately. But the fact is, I'm approaching what I would assume is the end of the story in Fallout. But I'm still enjoying it. And I don't necessarily want to end my Fallout 4 playthrough. There's a lot more content to explore in the game and a lot more I could do. So with that in mind, one of the things that I want to do with Fallout that I think will be fun and involve you guys more is kind of do a viewer-inspired series. And this would kind of leeway into what we're currently doing, but instead of just, doing 2 episodes a day, Monday through Friday, we would end up cutting back to 1 episode a day, Monday through Friday. And what will end up happening is on those videos, I would want you guys to comment. And, very similar back when we did Far Cry 4. I had kind of a viewer voting type deal where you guys voted on how you wanted me to take outposts. Some people are like, 1 throwing knife, 1 arrow, all different weapons, only explosives, whatever the case was. And, I had a lot of fun with that. Like, because, you guys got to give me a challenge and I got to tackle it. And we're not going exactly that route with Fallout 4, but what I want to start doing is on those videos, I want you guys to suggest stuff for me to do in Fallout 4. And the reason for this is Fallout 4 is so vast and there's so much stuff to do. Like I'll sit on the Fallout 4 Reddit site and I'll read about these quests that people are like, oh, can we all take a moment just to appreciate how good quest XYZ is? And I'm like, I've never even heard of that quest. Like the Yungetsi quest where you go out and you meet little Chinese grandpa in the nuclear sub. Like, I didn't even know that was a quest. And I found out about it from the Fallout 4 Reddit. But there's a lot of things like that in the game that, you just, until you just decide you're going to sink 200-300 hours into the game and start exploring every little, nook and cranny, you don't find this stuff. So what I want to do moving forward with Fallout is we're going to cut back a little bit. We're going to go down to 1 episode for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And on those episodes, I want you guys to decide what we're going to do the following week. So I want you guys to, just name quests that would be fun. Name areas that you want me to explore. Stuff that you think would be entertaining to see me do. And then the stuff that gets the most upvotes, that's the stuff that I'm going to tackle for the following week. And, we'll just keep rolling with that. And when we get to a point where we're starting to organically run out of ideas, we'll work towards the end of the series. But I think that would be a fun way to continue it where, I'm getting you guys more involved instead of just wandering into random buildings and hoping that it's interesting. So hopefully you guys will be on board with that idea as I am. The next item, more horror games. So this was probably one of the most made comments I saw, especially in Q4 of 2015. People just saying, Cowboy, you need to play more horror games. Cowboy, play more horror. Cowboy, please more horror. And I've never been a big horror game guy on the channel. And nothing against horror games. I like horror games. But up until recently, I didn't really have a good setup that kind of facilitated me doing the PC gaming with the webcam, like the face cam in the corner, so you guys can see reactions and all that stuff. And I've always felt that's something that I really need for horror games. I a big part of it is obviously the reactions. That's huge. No one can deny that. And without having a good capture on that reaction, I felt that kind of took away from the experience. And now, obviously I'm recording on PC fine right now, just pure webcam, and I want to do more of that for you guys because you guys seem to really enjoy that. And I enjoyed it. Like, man, dude, so much. There were like, I remember an Until Dawn. I mean, the moments where you had the Wendigos right on top of you. Sorry, you should have said spoilers. Whatever. If you haven't seen it by now, you suck. You should have gone back and watched it. But when the Wendigos are right there, and you just had to, you were sitting there, and you had to hold that controller, and it was like, don't move, and you were just like, oh my god, oh my god, like you were ready to crap your pants. You were so scared. And then like with Soma, like, oh my god, I remember the time when I was messing with the I don't even know what they were called, but the one guy that was blind, the monster that was running around, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna mess with this thing. And I was just, I was being goofy. I was like, hey, come on, asshole, let's go. And I like was like making a bunch of noise. I was throwing stuff, and I was in the room, and I closed the door, and I was like, oh, I was like banging on the windows. I'm like, are you gonna get me? Are you gonna get me? And then I like got behind the desk, and this freaking monster opened the door, and I literally almost pissed myself right there. I was just like, oh my god, no, I did not expect him to open the door. I was so freaked out, but like looking back, I mean, oh my god, it was so much fun. It was like being on a roller coaster. And the point I'm trying to make through all this just elaborate, I don't know, animation I'm doing here is that I want to do more horror games. And horror games are kind of an indie thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of fun playing horror games, and at least from what I've seen, it seems like you guys enjoy watching me play horror games. So that's something I want to get more into as we move forward into the new year. And the last, but certainly not least item is streaming. So obviously in 2016, really big year for the Twitch channel. And I mean, you guys that have been around for a long time, that I used to do YouTube streaming. Like I remember back when I very first started streaming, and I did this off. I didn't have a YouTube account enabled for streaming. Twitch wasn't even really around then, so I did a what was it? It was like a Google. It was Google's streaming thing. It was like Google Share, and it was like you could like see my screen in a little window down at the very bottom, and then it had whatever I was, or you could see like it was like a webcam down at the bottom, but the rest of the screen was sized around that, and it was just really, really odd. And I did that with some Skyrim DLC stuff, and it was complete garbage. It was so bad. And then, moving forward from that, I started doing some of the Assassin's Creed drunk through type shenanigans back with AC4 when we were like we picked up a bottle of mead, and this thing was like 40% ABV mead. Like we were getting drunk, and I'm not talking like, oh, we're having a good time and getting drunk. We're talking like I was getting intoxicated enough to where I should not be doing things on the internet anymore drunk, and just pounding down a bottle of mead and sailing around and singing drunken pirate songs. And then I started up on Twitch, and we started the channel. And as much as I love the YouTube and I love producing content, and you guys know I'm always in the comment section and I'm always replying to stuff, but Twitch it's different, and it's different in the sense that not only are you're making content while you're there, but you're getting to actively interact with fans while you're doing it, and it's something that's special. And at the same time, I know that doesn't apply to everyone, because I know I have a lot of you guys that are watching, you aren't on US time. I know I got fans over in Europe, I got fans in Russia, I got fans over in the Middle East, I got fans over in China, Japan, just, there's time zones all over the place. So I know a lot of you guys don't get to come to the streams, and because of that, every now and then when I can, I try to do streams during the day to hopefully get some of those people to come over in a time where they can join. And it's cool when they come in and they're like, oh, shout out from Sweden, or, shout out from Korea. I've been watching your content for, this many years. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That I have somebody all the way across the world over here that's hanging out with me right now watching that. And, there's nothing else really that I can even think of that gives me like that awesome feeling when I hear that. There's nothing else like it. It's just amazing. And because of that, and the fact that I love streaming, I did take a lot. I used to be doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Every week I was streaming, and I cut back on that. And a lot of it was to just produce raw content for YouTube, and a lot of it they weren't even games I enjoyed. It was just games that I felt like I had to do because I was, I got the game, and I'm a multi-game channel. I have to do it. And like I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to produce content that, I'm enjoying. And if I'm not enjoying it, I don't want to do it anymore. I'll do a rant about how it sucks, and then I'll give it away to charity or something. And because of that, I want to start doing more streams, and I want to be able to interact with you guys more while I'm playing games. And, I have a ton of fun on streams, and I want more of that. I want to do more of that. So moving into 2016, more streams. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. Originally I kind of had this vision that I was going to take this video and I was going to like overlay footage of all the games I talked about onto it and kind of make it this like epic montage. And I don't think I'm going to end up doing that, honestly. Thinking back, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather sit here and talk to you guys, and you guys can see me and you can know what I'm talking about, and I feel that'll have more impact than me just overlaying footage of beta gameplay of a game or whatever. So yeah. Either way, big recap, I guess, to sum it all up in a too long didn't listen type deal. Less shit games in 2016. If a game's garbage, we're not going to bother finishing it. Expect more Dark Souls and more Bloodborne, especially in co-op content. Expect more Daily Heroes. I'm going to be tackling Black Desert Online as a new MMO. Fallout 4, going to kind of viewer-inspired episodes, more indie horror games, and more streams. And most of all, thank you guys. Thank you all so much. Because, I think back to, we started the channel a little over 3 years ago. And, it's like I never thought I would be where I'm at now. I remember starting the channel. I was on unemployment. I couldn't pay my bills. I had eaten ramen every night. I was just counting on friends to feed me pretty much. And now I have food on the table. Obviously, I have an apartment that's very comfortable. I have gaming companies like bringing me out to places to play games, and I never expected any of this to happen. And it just did. And it's because of you guys. It really is. Like without you guys that come here and watch me sit here and drink beer and babble, like I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I just want you to all know that I really do appreciate that more than you can ever imagine. So thank you all. Thank you all so much for being here and supporting me the way you guys always have. And I hope you all have a great new year and a great 2016. And I hope you guys stick around because I think there's a lot of really good stuff to come. So with that being said, cheers to you. Cheers to the new year. And, see you guys when the clock turns over.